Hey everyone. So I'm just playing around today. I have not made but one piece of what I'm getting ready to show you, and that is this that I used on a previous video, and I showed that it was kind of translucent. I did it with beeswax, and where I saw that was Print and Pixel Studio, and I will link that below so that you can see the things that they did and made. And this is the beeswax I'll be using. And this was what they used and linked it. And I just went there and got the same thing along with this brush. So these were some of Fussy Cuts that I had printed years ago and obviously got tired of cutting them out. So I was thinking, if this works like I think it will, you don't have to be as precise when you cut it out because it's going to make everything around it clear. So I think that's why I'm wanting to try these things. And it's so easy. I mean, it works great. And as far as I can tell, because my first thought was, well, wouldn't it be greasy or oily, when you put it on a page? As far as I can tell on the one I did, it's not. It doesn't feel greasy or oily. It just feels kind of like vellum. And somebody said on her video, Print and Pixels video, well, why not just print on vellum? And I had kind of touched on this before in the video where I showed it. And the reason I think is, well, a lot of reasons I thought of was just like this. I already had it printed. Why would I turn right around and print it again on vellum when I have no intentions of cutting this out? So you just take your little brush and just rub it on there. And she did mention, and she's right, because I tried this on some magazine page and different things. The thinner your paper is, the better it works. So just regular copy paper works the very best. The thinner it is, not even the heavy stuff. I may just do this whole page. But anyway, back to the why not just print on vellum. As Carol pointed out, vellum is expensive. And yes, the beeswax is not necessarily all that cheap, but I mean, I've hardly used any. And like she said in her video, they had hardly used any of it and had made so many things out of it. And another thing is, like I mentioned before, what if you just find a picture that's not, something you can print? You just find a beautiful picture and want to do this to it. There's a lot of reasons I think you would want to at least give it a try. You can already see it's starting to lighten up. So I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. And I just printed this on a laser printer. I'm sorry, no, inkjet printer. And it isn't running, or, the colors are staying fast. So don't need to worry about losing your colors this way either. And I don't know, my printer's an older printer, and I have printed on vellum, but it doesn't really like it. Sometimes it kind of jams it up. The link for this beeswax is on her channel. It's at the bottom of that video, which I said I'll link below. But as I was looking for this beeswax, I saw some other ones, and I don't know that it matters, and she may have said in her video, but some of them have an oil base, and I don't really think you want to get those, because I think they would leave your papers, like if they touch something else, they would leave it oily. Now these Fussy Cuts have kind of a gray print in the background. that's just how they were. So I think that's why. But I mean, you can definitely see the words to my book underneath. And the more they dry, the more translucent they become. I was going to look on this and see if it said, if it had any oils in it. 100% pure organic British beeswax and olive oil. It does have oil in it. I don't know. So maybe if it got too warm, it would bleed off. I don't know. Like I said, it really feels like vellum to me. I don't think it will. I know that in its dry state, it's not going to rub off on your papers. Plus, it's so cold here, it feels good on your hands. So I'm going to set those aside and do a couple of more, and then we'll dry them with the heat gun. Isn't that a pretty picture? I'm going to be making some more pockets. So I thought, wow, these really look great on book page pockets. I don't know, this is heavier cardstock, so it may not work as well. Just kind of working that beeswax down into the fibers of your paper. Another good thing, I hope this works, is on this kind of paper, is all of this little splatter and stuff. When I did these, when I fussy cut these before, I was sad because I kind of had to cut all that off because it didn't match my paper and you could see where it was at. I don't know if that makes any sense, but so I'm hoping this will work and I'll be able to use the splatters and everything. Not so sure that's going to work on that heavier cardstock. I wonder if I could massage it in there. Kind of like Mamagami paper. Ooh, it's working because I can see underneath. I think it will work because you know that the flower that I showed before on that book page, that was a heavier cardstock too. I'm gonna let it set a little bit while I do some others, and I think that's gonna work. You know, a lot of digitals have a background that you don't even really notice, like this one does. So I'm just gonna keep working on these. I'll fast forward through this where you don't have to sit and watch me, you know, but as I was doing this and I was rubbing it into that one, I think that's faster than just using the brush. Of course, if you don't like the texture of it, it's better to use a brush, but it doesn't bother me. My hands are always so dry that I kind of like it. I think the bristles coming up on the brush bother me worse than having beeswax on my fingers. Look, it's working on the magazine page. Because I can see the back side of this page. Wow, I'm shocked. I tried to use it before and maybe the picture was just too dark because it was a really dark picture and it really didn't show through. So, wow, look at that. You can see the words underneath. Can't stand those bristles. Ugh. But look, you can see what's happening on the other side of this. I am so shocked because look, this is where I had done it on this piece before. And you can't, but it was dark on both sides, so I guess it didn't give it a chance to see through. I was distressing some magazine, so I guess it will work on a magazine. I said it wouldn't, so that was a lie right off the bat. How about that? I'm gonna dry these, and we'll see what we have. Okay, so I've learned some things about myself. Not like I didn't already know, but I love this project. I do. I think that it's very cool. I love that you can see both sides of the picture. but I have no patience for this. I really don't. I think, honestly, like I say, I'm going to link their channel below where I saw this, because they made some beautiful things, and they even did the heat drying on camera, and it didn't take that long. But I think that I don't know what I was expecting, but I think that first of all, I chose things that had words. And you don't want to do that if you want both sides to be seen. If you're wanting to glue it to something like this, perfect, doesn't matter. But like to do a specimen card or something like that, you you want to make sure you don't have any words. Second, you don't need to add your whole can of beeswax. These are still wet. I got so bored with blow drying I couldn't hardly stand myself. I just I don't have patience for that. So, and I left those over. I mean, it's been over 24 hours since I started this video, and I thought, okay, well, maybe by the time I finish it, they'll be dry. They're not dry. They're they're not dry. They're close to being dry, but they're not dry. I mean, look, you can tell how much I had on them because I even have it on my board here. See, my board's even wet or greasy looking. But these are the ones, I done some of these, and they were from heavier cardstock. My friend Laura made these and sent them to me, and I know that she uses a different weight than I do, but I thought maybe if I added enough of that stuff, it would be translucent. And they somewhat are, but not great. I mean, I will still use them probably for a specimen card. These turned out good. This was the heavy cardstock. But again, I put so much on there, it's still wet. I mean, I say wet. It's not totally dry. Let me grab a book page here. See, you can see through it. It's definitely translucent. Just not as much as I was hoping for. These butterflies, they're still very wet. Interesting thing about blow dry or heat drying them with your blow dryer, heat gun, whatever, is while you're doing it, you're like, this is not getting dry because it still looks totally wet. The minute you move your heat off of it, you can see it drying. It's really kind of cool to watch. And I did these, and they're not even close to being dry because I didn't even try those with the heat gun because I don't even like to blow dry my hair. I have long hair, and I don't even blow dry that. So I did lost interest very quickly, but they did turn out really, really pretty. You can see through those, and those will make nice pieces if you want to do a page. And that was something that she did on her channel, was she made a kind of like a writing spot or something that you could see both sides, and it looked really neat. I mean, look, I even painted my nails. I was so bored, I just quit. But I thought maybe while I was on here, I would at least make a specimen card with you. And I wanted to say, if if you know how you're going to want to use them, for one, look at the words. For two, if you're thinking about like a specimen card, make sure, because a lot of mine were like this. I used things I had already printed, and they're not quite far enough apart to do a good size specimen card, because they run in, there's not enough room to glue. So on this one, I made a pocket out of it. And look at there. I didn't think, I just thought, oh, I need to make sure it's on both sides so that my picture shows through. It shows through, sure does. But this side has no backing. I mean, of course, I can put a tag or something in. It's going to be fine. It's going to look fine. But I probably, before I folded it over, I should have put some kind of acetate or cellophane or something on this side where my tag didn't, fall out the hole. So I think this was a fail for me, but I really like the process. It is fun to do. If you enjoy taking your time and being precise. And a lot of crafters do, and that's what makes them good. I am not like that. I like to see quick results, and this for me was not that. Um, Again, I think maybe I just used too much beeswax, and so it didn't turn out very good. So I'm going to try to make a really quick specimen card here. This is actually from a cover of some scrapbook paper, and I had tea dyed it. So this side, I'm going to put the butterfly, and on the back side, I'm going to turn it over so that we have some writing spot. And I'm not going to get out the die cut machine. I'm just going to use a punch. I wanted to say thank you so much for all the kindness and the great comments and things that people left for me on my video yesterday where I was mentioning Scott. And I'm not going to make this sad. I just want to say, I think the reason that it got so melancholy for me was because uh, Scott's birthday and my dad's birthday are both in January. And I think sometimes, even though I don't realize it, your mind remembers, things and kind of makes me melancholy, I guess. So, uh, you might hear me mention them quite a few times. I won't do it in a sad way because I'm not sad. They were, like I said, they were wonderful. I miss them every day, but you know, I am sorry that I if I made anybody sad because I didn't mean to. I was trying to say some happy things and it got out of hand, I guess. And the reason what I'm doing is I didn't get that very centered, so I'm thinking I don't know why I'm thinking it, but I'm thinking I can get it to looking a little better, but I bet you I'm wrong. Yeah, you can't even tell I did anything, so I'm just gonna work with this. It's still very cold here. The only good thing about the cold, it is starting to, the ice is starting to melt though. But the only good thing about the cold is my little dog Fred. He is uh, he likes to take his time when he goes outside and smell the whole entire yard. Well, he don't do that when it's cold. He's not near as picky about where he relieves himself when it's cold. I think I'm going to put some script just to give this some look because it doesn't have much design on the front. I'm going to have to end up stamping a number on it too if this works. I do think this is a great process though. Like I said, if you have printed pieces that you want to do something with. Ooh, isn't that pretty? I'm going to ink around the frame before I glue it down, I think. It's going to be an awful small specimen card, but that's okay, I guess. And I'm not putting any acetate over it. I'm just going to leave that like it is. And this really does feel like vellum. It really does. Let me show you something. This is actually some things I printed on vellum. And vellum's a little more translucent. But, I mean, really, you can't tell a whole lot of difference. And you sure can't tell anything from the texture. It is the exact texture. I really like it. So let's just glue this down. I'm going to lose some of his wings because my picture is really too big. But like I said, all of them were printed so close that I'm not going to be able to get a cutout big enough. I don't think that will allow me to glue it as well. So yeah, their birthdays are in January, and birthdays were always a really big deal. when I was younger, had more life about me, I would, it was just a joke, but I would hand out little flyers at work, things that I liked to have for my birthday, because I would tell them, I know it would just be embarrassing to show up without a gift, so I'm only doing this for you. And Scott was the same way. The day after his birthday, he would start giving a list for the following year. It's like, you just had a birthday. He said, my birthday coming up. Crazy. Crazy little man. All right, so let's do this. That looks pretty good. Wonder if this one would fit, because it's got some text at the bottom. Well, no, that barcode will show through. And I'm not planning. I think this isn't going to be a specimen card where you can, see all the way through. I'm going to leave it as writing on the back. But I am going to, of course, do some stamping where maybe that will show through. Should have left my stamp out, shouldn't I? I'm going to use a darker one, that vintage photo. I'll use this Stays On Timber Brown, and maybe it'll show up a little better. Not really. It does a little bit. You can see it somewhat. The writing back there. So I'm just going to glue this. At some point, when I go to put it in a journal, maybe I'll sew around it too. Sorry this didn't turn out better. I think for where my butterfly is, I'm just going to put a little bit of stick glue so that it will dry clear and hold that pretty close to the words too. I bet my friend Laura, she does a lot of precision things. I bet she could figure out something great to do with this. So then it'll be just a little thing we can tuck in our journal and write on the back. I think that's cute. Trim it up just a smidge. That's a really nice way to use the covers on our scrapbook paper too. A lot of times at the bottom, it'll have the colors that are in the pad in these little blocks. So that's kind of a neat way to use those up. Because land sakes, we wouldn't want to just throw it away. All right, let me get out a number. Stamp it. I might just round these corners too when this dries a bit. That looks like a good size. I do like that. So I'm not going to call this a fail. I like how that turned out. Very pretty. I like that. So I made 3 pieces, and I probably would have made some more, but I'm telling you, I got really put out with all that blow drying. I do think it was my fault. I think that I just put entirely too much beeswax. I don't think you needed that much. I think what needed to happen was I needed to take more time rubbing it in, swirling it in. That's what I needed to do. Kind of fun. I thought maybe I might just do one more. I know some people don't really like butterflies, and I usually don't do a whole big bunch of them. I have an idea. Let's try something. Because on those butterflies, they're just going to have to be, I don't know what I was thinking. Why make them translucent when you can't? I guess you could put them in the middle of the cellophane, right? Yeah. And then have room that way. That's what I should have done. But I didn't. So I'm going to punch a hole in this one. Really, to make a specimen card out of this butterfly would be, why waste the time? Why not just use a butterfly? But look, it does make a little bit of difference in the way it shows through. Not much. Matter of fact, this would be a lot prettier because it has some orange on it. Wouldn't it? Okay, well, that truly was a fail. You know what I could do? I do have these beautiful flowers. I could cut out some of those. Let's see. You can somewhat see the background. What if I use the blue? Ooh, that looks pretty, doesn't it? And that blue, you can see underneath it pretty good. I think that's what I'm going to do. Well, let me glue it down first where I don't mess up. I'm going to stamp first, actually. This does have some words up there, but I'm going to do just a few more. And then before I put my picture in, I think I want to stamp this specimen word, so I don't get it on my picture. I'm pretty clumsy with things like that. All right, so let's glue this down. See, you can see underneath there pretty good. It looks really pretty. It looks better in person, I think. I forgot to ink around my thing. Shoot. Oh, that's okay. I have to trim some off the top because I don't like that the top is so much bigger than the bottom. Let's round those corners again. Actually, I think I'll stamp. I want to stamp me some numbers again. Okay, so I made two pieces that I love today that I didn't get glued shut. Look at that. So I'm thinking this little project wasn't a total fail for me. I love the, like I said, I love the idea of it. It works great. I think when you have things that are already printed, especially, because it definitely does feel the texture wise and the way it looks like vellum. Clamp that. So I hope you guys will definitely check out their video. She had some great tips, especially the one I thought was cool was if you don't have die cuts and such, she was showing a Kleenex, top of a Kleenex box to use. It was a really good video. Thanks guys for putting up with this little mess here. I hope that you like it. I hope that you will find some good uses for it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.